It didn't look like a prison. It looked like a spa. Clean walls, fresh paint, smiling staff, Bible quotes on the windows. But I'd learned long ago, the prettier the place, the darker the secrets. Dana met me there. She had aged since St. Lucy's, tired eyes, but sharper than ever. We posed as mother and daughter, touring as potential donors. The woman who greeted us, a tall, well-dressed blonde, a name tag that read, Sister Marie. But I knew her face. I knew that cruel curve of her lip. It was Sister Marian. She looked at me, smiled. I held out my hand. She shook it. You look familiar, she said slowly. You too, I replied. Have we met? No, I lied. But I've heard stories. That was the game now. We both knew. We were just waiting for someone to make a move. That night, we stayed at a motel 5 minutes from the center. While reviewing hidden camera footage Dana had taken, something stood out. A staff member, young, with a nervous twitch, passed us 3 times. Always watching, never speaking. The next day, he slipped us a note. Check room 6A, second floor. 10 p.m. Don't be seen. And at 10 p.m., we crept to the rear fence, slipped through the bushes, and found the window unlocked. Room 6A. Inside, 3 girls, all under 14, all terrified. One said, they make us do prayer isolation if we talk too loud. Another whispered, we can't call home. They say our parents don't want us anymore. And taped to the underside of the bed was a list of names. Dozens of them, marked with stars, dates. Some were marked, transferred. Others, ER. And some, just X. My hand shook. I was looking at a roster of lost girls. We got out and raced to the motel. Dana called her contact at a national broadcast station. She handed me the phone. Tell them, she said. All of it. So I did. On live TV. With shaking breath and fire in my voice. I'm Jennifer Abraham. I survived St. Lucy's. I exposed Clearwell. And now I'm telling you, Sister Marian is still hurting girls. This time, she's calling it safe haven. But the pain is the same. That broadcast reached millions. And the very next morning, FBI agents raided the center. Sister Marian tried to flee through the back gate. She was stopped. Dana and I stood on the sidewalk as they handcuffed her. I looked her in the eye. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She simply said, they always believe the loud ones, but not for long. And I replied, they believe in the brave. That's the difference. That was the last time I ever saw her. And this time, she didn't come back. Over the next year, the investigation expanded. Other homes across the country were exposed. More girls stepped forward. Martha wrote to me from college. She was studying social work. Wanted to open a center for real healing. And me. I finished school. Then nursing school. Then trauma counseling. Because I knew there would always be another girl. Another silence waiting to be broken. One spring evening, my mother came to visit me. We sat on the porch. The air smelled like lilacs. She said, I don't expect forgiveness, but I hope you know. I'm proud of you. I didn't answer right away. Then I said, I don't need you to be proud. I just needed you to believe me. Back then. She nodded slowly. And for the first time in years, she didn't stay silent. I'm sorry, Jennifer. And that was enough. My name is Jennifer Abraham. I'm no longer afraid of closets or basements. or uniforms, or the word obedience. I was broken, then I rebuilt it. And now, I help others do the same. Because every time we speak up, every time we refuse to disappear, we tear down the walls they built to trap us, one voice at a time. And this time, I didn't come to argue, I came to bury Karen's reputation for good. At the next public HOA meeting, I showed up early and plugged a flash drive into the projector system. When people walked in, the screen was paused on a grainy night cam photo of Karen slipping into my home. By the time the meeting started, the room was packed. I walked to the front. For months, Karen has been spying on us, stealing from us, and manipulating us into silence. I began. Whispers spread like wildfire. I have her surveillance footage. I have her diary. And I have a full police report filed with the local department. I clicked play. One by one, faces in the audience turned pale. A woman gasped when she saw footage of Karen in her backyard, digging through a bin. Another man stood up and shouted, "That's my house." She said my daughter was vandalizing property. Turns out it was her. Even the board members looked stunned. I turned to them. "She used all of you. And I want a vote. Today. Karen must be removed permanently." They nodded. Unanimously, Karen was officially removed from the HOA board. But it didn't end there. The very next morning, I received a thick yellow envelope in the mail. No return address. Inside it was a single sheet of paper, with a printed photo of me asleep in my bed. Below the photo, in red ink, were the words, "You ruined everything. Now I'll ruin you." I stared at the red ink threat in my hand. A photo of me, asleep, taken from inside my bedroom. Even though Karen was in police custody pending trial, that letter felt like a punch to the gut. My locks had been changed. The cameras were working. Ethan had checked everything. So how did this get into my house? The next morning gave me the answer. And it shook me to my core. I woke up early, just as sunlight poured into my room. My chest felt tight, and my throat was dry. Something felt off. I pulled on my robe and walked down the hall. Then I saw it. Red spray paint all over the living room wall. Big, sloppy, aggressive strokes, like it was scratched in blood. My bookshelf was knocked over. The couch cushions slashed. My framed family photos shattered and tossed on the floor. My cat, Maple, was hiding inside the cabinet under the sink, trembling. I rushed to the back door. Still locked. I checked the cameras. Nothing. Nothing. Someone had disabled them. That's when I realized. It wasn't just vandalism. It was a message. Detective Ramirez arrived within the hour. He took photos, logged everything, and asked all the usual questions. Then I showed him the envelope from the day before. He frowned. "You said this showed up after Karen's arrest, right?" "Yeah." He tapped his pen on his notepad. "Then someone's either helping her, or Karen planned this before she was taken in." I narrowed my eyes. "You think there's an accomplice?" "We're going to check her phone records. Visitors. Anyone she's written to from county. But for now, I suggest you stay somewhere else." Ethan offered me his spare room. We loaded up my essentials and locked everything up tight. "I don't want to wake up to find your initials carved into my ceiling," he joked. I laughed, but I was rattled inside. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. Why would someone go this far over HOA power? And why me? Then I remembered something Denise, Karen's ex-friend, told me. She was obsessed with control. "But it started with you." I didn't understand it at the time, but soon I would. Denise called me the next day. "She's not just mad about HOA stuff," she said, her voice shaking. "You reminded her of someone. Her ex-fiancé. He dumped her after a bad fight about medication. Left her the same day you moved into the neighborhood. What? She kept tabs on you. Projected all her anger onto you. That's why it got personal. It wasn't about weeds or trash bins. She saw him in you. I felt chills crawl up my spine. She told me once, Denise continued, that one day she'd take something important from you so you'd feel the way she did. I swallowed hard. That explains why she took my meds. But the break-in? The photo. I told the detectives, she said. But there's something else. She kept a second USB in a fireproof box. Said it was her last weapon. The very next morning, Officer Maddox called me. We found another USB while searching her storage unit. It's encrypted, but our tech guys cracked the outer layer. What's on it? His voice turned grim. There are blueprints of your house, printed emails between her and someone named A. Price, and video instructions. He paused. It looks like she was trying to hire someone to hurt you. My knees buckled. Are you saying she was planning to? I can't say yet, but it's being treated as a credible threat. Within hours, police moved in on Andrew's house. What they found inside was even worse than we expected. A map of my neighborhood, marked with red circles around homes Karen had targeted. A box of stolen items, including my missing security camera DVR, Mrs. Garcia's missing gold earrings, and a USB labeled HOA Phase 2. Notes in a notebook, referring to me as the decoy. The two of them had planned an entire operation, Karen pulling the strings, Andrew carrying out her dirty work. He had broken multiple times, bypassed cameras, and left psychological clues to scare me. But when Karen got caught, Andrew lost control. He started acting on his own. Under interrogation, Andrew cracked. He admitted everything. He'd been in love with Karen since she complimented his lawn 2 years ago. She played into his loyalty, fed him ideas, told him I was a danger to the community. She said Kyle needed to be put in his place, Andrew cried during questioning. I just wanted to protect her. Even when she was locked up, I thought she needed me. He confessed to painting the walls, placing the bracelet, stealing the DVR system, and even hiding in my garage for 3 hours after the police visit. It was all a sick obsession, and I was the target. Karen was hit with multiple felony charges: identity theft, unlawful surveillance, theft of controlled substances, trespassing, conspiracy, and more. Andrew's testimony sealed her fate. She was denied bail. At the pre-trial hearing, she finally saw me in the courtroom. She looked thinner, eyes sunken, hair no longer perfect. She didn't speak. She just stared, like a ghost, until the judge called her name. In the months that followed, Karen was sentenced to 14 years in prison. Andrew was given 6 years for conspiracy, breaking and entering, and theft. The HOA was restructured, with strict limits on board powers. I was awarded $87,000 in damages, plus HOA fines refunded for the past 3 years. Karen had been quietly looting houses for months, under the guise of HOA inspections. One of the officers turned to his partner and said, "We're gonna need a bigger car." As they walked her out in handcuffs, Karen screamed in front of everyone, "I was trying to help. You all need me. I'm protecting the neighborhood." The police ignored her. She turned to me, eyes wide and frantic. "This is a mistake. You're framing me. You're a drug addict." Even the dogs stopped barking to stare at her in silence. Then one of the officers came over to me. "We'll need you at the station to file your formal statement. But, just a heads up." He handed me a small item in a plastic bag. It was a USB flash drive. We found this in her living room drawer. Labeled HOA Secrets. "You might want to see what's on it," My blood went cold. I held the little plastic bag in my hands like it contained a ticking bomb. A USB stick labeled HOA Secrets in Karen's handwriting. I stared at it for a moment, then looked at the officer. Did she say anything about what's on this? The officer shrugged. She screamed a lot. Something about evidence and how it proves she's the real victim. Yeah, right. That night, after giving my statement at the station, Ethan and I sat at his kitchen table and plugged the USB into his laptop. The folder opened instantly. What we saw nearly made me drop the computer. There were dozens of video files, each one titled with the name of a neighbor and a date. Some videos were clearly taken from outside people's homes, through windows and fences. One showed Mr. Thompson trimming his hedges in his robe. Another showed the Garcia twins sneaking out after curfew. But when I clicked on the file named Kyle_med_4_14 I almost threw up. It was a grainy video from inside my kitchen. The angle showed my medicine cabinet. The timestamp was from a week before I left town. She was spying on me, I whispered. Ethan leaned in. That looks like the light above your back door. There's a small hole near the vent. She must have hidden a micro camera. I felt sick. Karen hadn't just stolen my meds. She had been watching me for weeks. Inside another folder labeled Inspections, we found photos of different homes, mostly taken from behind bushes, fences, or tree cover. But the last photo stopped me cold. It was a grainy shot of my house at night. A shadowy figure was entering through the laundry room door. The metadata said it was taken by a motion-triggered trail cam, her camera. She was documenting her own break-ins like it was a project. She's building a twisted little HOA case file, Ethan muttered. But then, in the deepest part of the USB, we found the most disturbing thing yet. In a folder labeled Kyle bedroom_window_cam, there were 5 short video files. Each one was from a tiny camera set up across the street, most likely from her upstairs guest bedroom window, facing directly toward mine. Zoomed in, with timestamps from at night. I felt rage burning in my chest. This wasn't just identity theft. It was stalking. I brought the USB back to the precinct the next morning. Officer Maddox, one of the ones who arrested her, looked stunned. He scrolled through the footage, jaw tightening with each click. Okay, he said finally. This changes things. This isn't just petty theft anymore. We're looking at surveillance, harassment, possibly even breaking privacy laws depending on what else we find. He looked at me. You did the right thing turning this in. But it didn't feel like enough. When I brought the situation to the attention of the HOA board, I was met with blank stares and awkward silence. Karen was never authorized to enter homes, said Mr. Bryce, the board secretary. We always assumed she was just enthusiastic. Enthusiastic. I snapped. She stole my prescriptions, spied on me, and planted cameras. Mrs. Kilpatrick, the treasurer, sipped her tea. Kyle, let's be reasonable. She's under stress. Her husband left her last year. She should be in jail, not on the HOA. That's when I dropped the USB on the table. Then explain this. They all learned in. When the first video started playing, of Karen slipping into my kitchen, they turned pale. You'll be hearing from my lawyer, I said, standing up. Just as I got home, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. A shaky voice came through the line. She spied on me too, the woman whispered. And she blackmailed me to stay quiet. You don't know half of what she's done. Who is this? I'm her former best friend, and I have a diary she's been hiding for years. I sat frozen in my car, the call still echoing in my ears. A woman claiming to be Karen's former best friend just told me she had Karen's personal diary, one filled with secrets, blackmail, and the truth about what Karen had been doing behind closed doors. I didn't even know Karen had friends. The woman gave me a location: the Willow Creek Library, parking lot, back left corner. Noon tomorrow. Come alone. I felt like I was entering a spy movie, but I couldn't risk missing this. Not after everything Karen had done. The next day, just before noon, I drove to the Willow Creek Library. It was cloudy and unusually quiet. I parked in the back, exactly where she told me. A few minutes later, a dusty blue sedan pulled up beside me. The window rolled down, revealing a tired-looking woman in her late 40s. Shoulder-length brown hair. Nervous eyes. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "You Kyle?" she asked. "Yeah. And you're?" She glanced around and then handed me a worn leather-bound notebook. "I'm Denise. Karen and I were childhood friends. I moved into her neighborhood 6 years ago. I thought reconnecting would be fun." She shook her head. She turned out to be a nightmare. I flipped open the diary, and my jaw dropped. Every page was filled with detailed entries, organized by house number, with hand-drawn maps, notes, suspicions, and actions. My house. April 2nd. Kyle ordered delivery. Left trash bins by the garage. Strike 1. April 14th. Kyle picked up medication. Suspected misuse. Plan to confirm dosage. April 16th. Entered through the back. Success. Pills located. Retrieved bracelet. He won't notice. The Devises. Mrs. Davis has unpaid dues. Found a vintage necklace through the window. Took for safekeeping. If she complains, threatened to report her landscaping violations. The Garcias. Teens sneaking out. Footage saved. Might use it if parents object to parking warnings. It was a blueprint for psychological warfare. Karen had been using private dirt to manipulate neighbors into silence. I turned to Denise, stunned. "Why are you giving this to me?" "Because she turned on me too," she said quietly. "She tried to blackmail me about my divorce. Said if I didn't vote her into the HOA presidency again, she'd leak texts I sent years ago." Ethan helped me reinstall an entirely new security system, this time with triple redundancy and cloud backup. Denise, the woman who helped expose everything, became a local hero. And Maple the cat? She got her own window perch and a soft new blanket. This story isn't just about a nosy neighbor. It's about the illusion of power and what happens when someone lets their obsession with control destroy everything around them. Karen didn't start as a villain. She started as a lonely woman who wanted to matter. But instead of building community, she built fear. Let this be a reminder to us all. Power should be earned through trust, not stolen through fear. If this story shocked you as much as it shocked me, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who's ever dealt with a crazy HOA neighbor. And tell us in the comments, have you ever had a Karen on your block? We want to hear it. Thanks for reading. And remember, keep your doors locked, your meds safe, and your HOA in check.